Hello and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. Top stories in the news tonight. Zambia mourns 4th Republican President RUPIAH BANDA. Young people share their grievances as government cancels youth celebrations. Government winds up the evacuation of the Zambians from Ukraine. In international news, thousands of teachers strike in Cameroon. And in sports news, Premier League disqualifies Chelsea owner as director of club.
On Monday, 14th March 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chilwa as he hosts the Mines Minister, Honorable Paul Kabuswe.
We want to be cleared of the allegations that have been thrown around that the Ministry of Mines has been mishandling the issuance of the mining licenses. Of course, we have inherited a system. I must say that we inherited a system that was, I'll use a very bad word, the system was rotting.
At exactly 20:45 hours, as they discuss mining sector in Zambia, what is the way forward?
Any license that will have been issued in this period will be now and void.
Invite others to participate through phoning, on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 13th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Hello once again, another news in detail. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Stanley Kakubo says government has finally concluded the evacuation process of the remaining 12 Zambians who safely exited Sami, Ukraine to Warsaw, Poland. Mr. Kakubo explains that 12 citizens are expected to arrive in Lusaka on the 13th of March 2022. He says government will provide accommodation for the students who reside outside Lusaka for at least 2 nights before they are facilitated to their final destinations. He adds that all the students tested negative to COVID-19 and as such they will only be required to undergo the regular screening of every ordinary traveler upon their arrival. Residents of Kalea village in Mazabuka district, Southern Province in Chief Mwanajingwala area have appealed to the government to complete the construction of a police post in order to curb criminal activities. Irate people burnt the police post following a riot that broke out in the year 2019. Residents interviewed by Camnet News say the majority of them did not take part in the riot and should not suffer the consequences of others involved in the act. More in this report.
One might think this is an unfinished house due to its structure, but this is Kalea Police Post, which was burnt down by furious residents following a riot that broke out early 2021. Located in Mazabuka District, Southern Province, in Kalea Village, this police post has failed to see its completion due to lack of funds. According to the village headman Simon Muwanga, he discloses that headmen in the area mobilized funds to rebuild the police post, but has failed to be completed due to lack of resources.
Population in Yambid, then the police post yatu mumbuyo mwamenta choka umu inali inapya. So community nankala monga community ife wa headman kinaganiza ganza kuti police post yatu tiene kuti chiste bwanyi tiambe kuti renovate so pamene mwayiona mwamene ionekera so up niwa mahedimeni wamene banali kusonka tundalama kumanga nyumba kuti ifike pamene yafika pali pano iyi nyumba ikalibe kusila tikali kufuna assistance.
The area has no police post, hence one has to move a 40 minutes distance to report a case to Mazabuka police station. With high levels of child marriage in this area, it becomes hard for some cases to be reported, as many do not see the need to walk such long distance, hence such cases go unreported. The residents are now calling on government to help them build this police post, a thing they say will help keep criminal activities.
From the
time the police got banned, theft levels have escalated. There is no peace because young ones have taken advantage of the situation. They know they won't be taken anywhere. We ask government to address the situation before people lose a lot. When the police post is built, it will deter the young ones from committing some of these crimes. Sanity will be restored. Another challenge is that even elder people have started doing the same.
The vandalism career was going to be a good place to be. But unfortunately, after the vandal situation came back to again to the west actually. Up to this time, things are going west, until we don't know when the government will respond. The quickest time when this place will go back to normal.
Many are times that civic leaders have questioned and condemned the continued behavior by members of the public of venting their anger on public property in instances where they feel aggrieved. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Residents of Mtendere Ward 34 and Councillor of Manali constituency Boniface Chibeka has challenged government to disband the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company into two separate entities that will deal with water and sanitation programs respectively so as to attain efficiency in its operations. Mr. Chibeka has observed that for a long time, most compounds in Manali constituency have been experiencing continued erratic water supply and poor sanitation. More in this report.
Following a continued erratic water supply and poor sanitation in Lusaka's Mtendere and Helen Kaunda compounds, Mtendere Ward 34 Councillor Boniface Chibeka has challenged the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company to divide its operation into two entities that will manage water supply and sanitation programs respectively. Mr. Chibeka has alleged that the utility company has failed to deliver in its duties due to the fact that it is overwhelmed in its operations, thereby negatively affecting the consumers. He says this during an interview with Camnet TV News.
The issue of water here in Mtendere, to start with, I would like to appeal to the Minister of Water and Sanitation, who is also our area member of Parliament, Honorable Mike Imposha, to disband the water and sewerage company into two companies for water and for sewer, so that they can become very effective. Already we have a problem in Helen Kaunda, where they are not responding promptly to the issues of sewer. Now imagine Helen Kaunda is such a small compound. Then here in Mtendere, sooner or later we are going to be using a sewer line here. Now how are they going to handle a very big thing like Mtendere when they are failing to handle a small thing like Helen Kaunda? So my appeal to the minister is that let him disband that company into two, so that sewer should be on its own and water on its own.
Mr. Chibeka is of the view that, given that the company is divided, it will be effective and more efficient.
Don't have water, C-section, A-section, PHI, which is Benny Mwinga, and Helen Kaunda himself. Some of the people like A-section, C-section, others are even surviving on the boreholes, which were donated by well-wishers. So that's why I'm appealing to the minister to disband that company so that they can become very effective, other than them dealing with both things.
With the renewed mandate, Water utilities companies across the country are now compelled to handle both water supply and sanitation components. However, some section of the society feel these companies are not delivering to their expectations, given that their scope of work is now overwhelming. Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
As Zambians continue to mourn the death of fourth Republican President RUPIAH BANDA, Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD President Nevas Mumba has described Mr. Banda as a selfless man who respected family principles and exhibited patriotism to the country. Dr. Mumba says Zambia will miss Mr. Banda and that he will be remembered for his contribution to Zambia's democracy. Meanwhile, former Home Affairs Minister Dr. Peter Machungwa recalls that Mr. Banda believed in selfless leadership and commitment to public service. More in the following report.
He was known as the president of all Zambians. Death has yet again robbed Zambia of a great son of the soil in a series of former heads of state. He joins others who include Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Frederick Chilwa, Levi Mwanawasa, and Michael Chilufyasata, leaving behind Edgar Lungu as Zambia's only surviving former head of state. This means that the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, has lost all its leaders who have governed this country before. Mr. Banda, who was Zambia's fourth Republican president from 2008 to 2011, died at the age of 85 after suffering from colon cancer. Mr. Banda, who took over from President Levi Mwanawasa, is remembered and praised for his famous gesture of conceding defeat in 2011 after losing that year's poll to Patriotic Front, PF's Michael Sata. Zambian youths could not celebrate their day as the chief government spokesperson Chushika Sanda said it was due to the mourning period in honor of the country's statesman
who passed on yesterday. And due to that, we are officially cancelling the youth celebration or commemoration in respect of our fourth Republican president.
While the event could not take place, various stakeholders, leaders of opposition political parties, members of the diplomatic community shared messages of condolences to the family and how they remember him. We spoke to Movement for Multi-Party Democracy President Dr. Nevas Mumba.
Convey our heartfelt condolences first of all to the family, to let them know that we joined them during this very difficult time. Let me add that the icon that we have lost reminds us of the passing of a generation of those who understood what public service was all about. President RUPIAH BANDA, may his soul rest in peace, lived almost all of his life in the service of the nation. He didn't know anything else. He became ambassador to Egypt at the age of 27. He became ambassador to Washington at the age of 30. He became Foreign Affairs Minister in 1975. He became ambassador of the United Nations in 1974. So you can imagine how young he was. And he was, I can safely say, the longest serving diplomat of our nation. So we have lost somebody who dedicated his entire life to building the Zambia that we have today.
Meanwhile, former Home Affairs Minister Dr. Peter Machungwa shared his perspective.
Party came back and continue to contribute to the welfare of the Zambian people. It's really a sad day. We wish to have more politicians like the late President RUPIAH BANDA.
Walida's son is the Palestine Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
On behalf of all diplomatic corps, we express our sadness and sorrow for that. We believe that former president spent his life in service of his country and his people. So we express our sympathy and solidarity with his family, with the Zambian people, with the government of Zambia. And we pay our condolences to His Excellency, President Hakainde Hichilema.
They say you don't know what you have until it's gone. As Zambians reflect on Mr. Banda's contribution to the peace and stability the country continues to enjoy. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe has reassured that law reforms will be done in consultation with all stakeholders to achieve consensus, as stated by President Hakainde Hichilema during his address to Parliament on Friday. He has implored members of Parliament to come to the table to find solutions to urgent matters such as electoral reforms.
It's very important and shows the political will of the New Dawn government that His Excellency reiterated the need for the Public Order Act to be amended, and that means that nobody can now argue that this is one of our key priorities. And secondly, the need for constitutional reform. And that also comes to mind in the sense that there are certain emergencies, if I may use that term, that need to be addressed, certain matters that need to be prioritized. And the plea that His Excellency made was to all members of Parliament to set aside their political affiliations and look at dealing with these in what I would look at as a one-off amendment perhaps to the Constitution before the holistic review is undertaken. What do I mean by this? There was reference to all the members of Parliament coming together and addressing the question of by-elections and of course any other lacuna that need urgent attention.
The Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development says the process of cleaning up the licensing department is going on well and that soon they will update the nation. Last month, Mines Minister Paul Kabuswe suspended the issuance of mining licenses in a bid to clean up the sector in the wake of the high corruption perception. And speaking with Camnet News, Mr. Kabuswe says the suspension, which will last up to the 23rd of March 2022, may be extended depending on the scope of the works to be undertaken. And the minister has said the ministry is doing everything possible to enhance the participation of Zambians in the sector.
Going on very well. We are cleaning up. The auditors are in. They are both internal and external auditors. So in the next 30 days we'll review. If we are done, we'll make the announcement. If we are not done, we'll tell you that we've extended them to plan properly. But at the same time, Zambians must see this benefit after we do what we are supposed to do as government, and these things will do them so that Zambians can also begin to see the benefits. What we want to do is to ramp up activity in the mining sector. More productivity means more jobs. More productivity means more suppliers and contractors. More productivity means more money in the treasury. And this is where we want to go. We want activity in the mining sector to be ramped up.
The cancellation of Youth Day celebration by the government following the death of former President RUPIAH BANDA could not stop young people from airing out their grievances on their plight. Annually, the country commemorates the National Youth Day that falls on March 12, 2022 as an opportunity for youths to lobby for their welfare across the country. During a sport interview with Camnet News at Lusaka's Freedom Statue, some youths shared their concerns ranging from unemployment levels, youth participation and social development in the country. The theme for this year's Youth Day commemoration is enhancing youth participation at all levels of national development. Details in the following report.
Each year, the Zambian youth get to have an opportunity to celebrate their youth on a day that was March 12. However, in 2022, the youth across the country could not do so due to the loss of their father, former Republican President RUPIAH BANDA. It is due to this reason that government cancelled all forms of celebration in the country. However, some youth could not hold their breath but air out their concerns as regards to their well-being in their respective locality.
My condolences to the family of the late President RUPIAH BANDA. I'm a youth from Mississippi compound, Kuku Youth Mississippi compound. Tikona concern is among Africa guys. It's high time we begin using Vintu. Kai munungana tupasa ma resources yangati ya tatu before ndarama. It gave us land, it gave us water, and gave us air. Nampepo etipema. One of the things has led us to kuvutika mzigo latu mono. Failure ya kushita recognize kuzingisa vintu veti na avwai. And one of it chintu yote tinacho. Ijamisi Singwenya is one of the biggest dams monga inga pezeke muri ma African cities kuno ku Sub-Sahara kuno Southern Africa kwetili Central Africa kuno. Chia kupatuka chija. Chinazula chia chimbotera mayagwira. Kuli blue water food. But pezeke kutaira mabini noti mungwenya. And then to combat climate change, small men. But it blocking our water resources. Number 3, the local youth can benefit muja in terms of skills, enhancing skills, employment, vambiri vetinga chite, such as fishing, sports, recreation, fish farming, just to mention but a few. Number 1, tourism. It can promote tourism not only for the local residents of Misisi, but also for Lusaka.
The youths who voted for this new Dawn government, I think we have patience. We are not in hurry for us to be employed or what. The new Dawn government have promised us a lot of things which are being implemented. We can't expect everything to be done at the same time. We are waiting. We have patience.
In youth participation at all levels of national development, I feel as youths we need to be supported enough to conquer our dreams. Yeah. And if you're a youth out there with a dream or you plan to do something, you have to do it. Don't wait for tomorrow. It's now or never.
To others, youth empowerment is the way to go, given the new Dawn's approach to national development.
For this theme, for the youths, than previous government, what they did, like for IGA buses, it was very bad. They never benefited anything with the previous government, but at this time, I know that things are moving for this youth empowerment for IGA buses, because I know that we even thank the new Dawn government for taking these issues to the Parliament Committee. So on that thing, we know that things will work out on this one, and we want to say that everything now is in order, and even for Public and Private Drivers Association of Zambia, they should make sure that they investigate more so that we can be sure that who destroyed the project.
This year's theme is dubbed Enhancing Youth Participation at All Levels of National Development. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
And in a related development, some youths in Chilanga district have charged that the government should have allowed the National Youth Celebration to take off despite the country being in a mourning state. Speaking to Camnet TV, Laston Chawila says it is unfortunate that the event was cancelled at the last minute when youths across the country were ready to celebrate their day. He says he had great hopes and was looking forward to hearing what the government is doing to address issues affecting the youths. More in this report.
They gathered in numbers ready to celebrate their day. However, before the marching exercise could even commence, information that the National Youth Day had been cancelled reached their ears. Saturday morning, government cancelled all activities that were lined up to commemorate National Youth Day, which falls annually on March 12, following the untimely death of Zambia's fourth president, RUPIAH BANDA. Chilanga District Commissioner addressed the youths in the area who were geared for the day that the event will not take off.
However, this morning we received guidance from the national leaders that all activities, including youth activities, have been cancelled because of the national mourning which has now started. The country is in the national mourning. And so it means we cannot go ahead with the celebrations that we had planned for today. We are calling upon you to be organized. All of us should be organized and sort of.
The decision to suspend much past activities for the 2022 National Youth Day celebration has been criticized by some of the youths, stating that government should have allowed low-key activities despite the country being in a state of national mourning.
Tenzopempa ngatiganzileko kuti titeko celebrate Youth Day olo chita mourning kuli ba former president bato ba former RUPIAH BANDA. So as for me, to my side, I'm here, I'm a youth. I'm there to express myself. Nipempa kuti batiganzilepo kuri government kuti no teko enjoy pangono chabe but still enjoy. While we are enjoying our youth day, we have to use our mind to say, oh, we are mourning our former Republican president, RUPIAH BANDA.
I feel bad that the event has been cancelled, in the sense that we had great hopes for it. Wanted to hear what the DC had, the expectations for us, what they're going to do for us. But at the same time, we can't really complain because we've lost our fourth president, so there's nothing much we can say.
I feel so bad because of the events that has been cancelled. I feel so sorry for the family, and my condolences to the family of Mr. RUPIAH BANDA. Meanwhile, some of the youths described the late as being among the best leaders Zambia has had. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of ZAMBIA Electronics.
At ZAMBIA Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, ZAMBIA Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. ZAMBIA Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. ZAMBIA Electronics, the real deal.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin. Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiruba, the board and management of Camnet Television, the leadership and church members of the Healing Word Ministries International convey our deepest condolences to the widow, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of our late former 4th Republican President of the Great Republic of Zambia, His Excellency RUPIAH BANDA. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Monday, 14th March 2022, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba as he hosts the Mines Minister, Honorable Paul Kabuswe.
We want to be cleared of the allegations that have been thrown around that the Ministry of Mines has been mishandling the issuance of the mining licenses. Of course, we have inherited a system. I must say that we inherited a system that was, I'll use a very bad word, the system was rotting.
At exactly 20:45 hours, as they discuss mining sector in Zambia, what is the way forward?
Any license that will have been issued in this period will be null and void.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. Minister of Science and Technology Felix Mutati has disclosed that government engaged several technical institutes across the country to train youths on how to make modern desks. In an interview in Lusaka, Mr. Mutati says this is being done to ensure that each constituency in the country has people that are able to manufacture desks for schools within their localities. Mr. Mutati says the training will be done in a period of 3 months for all interested youths in various constituencies to ensure that they are equipped with the necessary competencies required to manufacture desks. He believes this will enable youths in various constituencies to benefit from the Constituency Development Fund CDF as it was decentralized by the New Dawn government.
We have got a number of institutions that are under Tereta, and I'll just give you one as an example. We call it SOTI, which is the Technical Training Institute based in Solwezi. As we speak now, they are actually making desks. They are training young people to make desks. They are redesigning the making of a desk so that it is adaptable to the rural setting, so that it is able to be repaired by ordinary people in the rural setting. So the direction that we're taking as a ministry is to expand on the capacity of making desks, 1. 2, to use that desk opportunity as a training of equipping our youths with the necessary competences that they require to be able to make desks. So we'll be training them for 3 months. When they graduate, they'll be able to make desks. So they'll be able to create the tuntembas, the companies, the cooperatives, and become entrepreneurs in their various localities to do desks. And like I said, we are training youths per constituency. So each constituency will have a brigade of youths that are carpenters who can actually do desks, who are metal fabricators who can do desks. So it will be easy at the local level for them to harvest from the CDF that is there and say, I can be able to supply you 100 desks, 200 desks.
Mafinga District Education Board Secretary has expressed concern of the high levels of teenage pregnancies in the district following a report of over 50 cases of girls having fallen pregnant in the year 2021. In an exclusive interview with Camnet News, Debs Hitami Kala explains that the increase of pregnancies is largely due to long distances that girls cover to and from schools, thereby exposing them to social vices and lessening their focus on education. Mr. Kala has noted that the early pregnancies have negatively affected the smooth running of education in the district. He has since appealed to government and local authorities to work in collaboration in ending this vice by implementing robust sensitization programs in the district.
For last year alone, we had over 50 girls that fell pregnant, both primary and secondary schools. It was quite a big number for us because the other 8 was less than 50. And this is happening every year, girls fall pregnant. Reason being that they are covering long distances to access education, especially day scholars. They are most vulnerable. Those in boarding is not much cases of pregnancy, but day scholars, because they walk distances and they are vulnerable to these men. We had the whole district from EC, community, primary and secondary had over 32,000 learners in total.
But this time around, with the coming of free education, we have gone up to 37,000. This period alone, we have reached 37,000. The data that we have collected from schools. So meaning free education has made an impact to us. A lot of people have come back to school. Those that had dropped, became pregnant, because of the entry policy, they have come back to school.
MOURNS Savings and Credit Corporation Chairperson Mauden Shula has urged citizens in the country, especially youths, not to wait for government to employ them, but look at available investment opportunities in the informal sector. Speaking when he handed over 10 brand new vehicles worth 1.8 million kwacha to members from various provinces across the country, Ms. Shula says the vehicles are meant to empower and contribute to national development. MOURNS is a savings and credit cooperative dealing with financing and handing over equipment and vehicles to its members. More in the following report.
An organization called MOURNS Savings and Credit Cooperative has handed over 10 brand new vehicles worth 1.8 million to 10 of its members from various provinces across the country. MOURNS chairperson says the vehicles handed over today are part of the cooperative's agenda of empowering its members with vehicles on a weekly basis. Mr. Shula explained that the New Dawn government pronouncement to create a conducive environment in which the private sector can thrive has given hope to the cooperative to have more Zambians, especially the youth, empowered and enable them sustain their lives.
I am still proud to say that all this you are seeing, which is happening now, nobody has given us a loan. It is Zambians themselves, ourselves, who are doing this. And our loan book and fund is growing at a very fast pace. I want to believe by the end of this year, we will be looking at quite a huge fund that we are managing, a revolving fund, by the way, because what's going on here is when the savings come in, we purchase vehicles, we purchase equipment, we give loans to members to grow their businesses.
He has since urged government through its agencies such as the Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, to speedily clamp down fraudsters and scammers that are committing crimes by pretending they are representing legitimate organizations. And some of the beneficiaries spoken to are elated with the initiative of empowering them with vehicles.
The youths, I'm advising to utilize each and every amount of money that they have. For example, myself, I was a taxi driver. I'm a teacher by profession. I'm not yet employed, but I was a taxi driver, and the little money that I was saving is what got me this car. So slowly by slowly, as you are saving, at the end of it, you can be like me with a vehicle.
We need to go for work, we have to get on a bus. Sometimes we get on a taxi, book a taxi, it's expensive. It has been hectic. Even rain season is bad. Office jobs, you're not supposed to, you need to look smart, so like that. But I think this vehicle will help me.
They have called on the youth in Zambia to consider investing with MOURNS.
Get the car within a month. So MOURNS is real because if you pay 50% and you're able to get the car, it means that you're able to do your things and pay within your own time. That is in a period of 2 years. So it's going to be very helpful for me because I'm even going to use it to bring more money as a transport business. So I am very grateful to MOURNS.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Government plans to come up with a one-stop center for the supply of equipment for all original spare parts and well-trained technicians to ensure that the economy is running without disruption. Speaking during the launch of Weichai Spare Parts, Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Permanent Secretary Dan Mfune says government is ready to work with investors who will help Zambia accelerate its industrialization. More in this report.
Having original spare parts equipment contributes to the country's economic development through infrastructure construction, agriculture mechanization, and industrialization. Spare parts can be used in a multi-sectoral approach such as farming, irrigation, fishery, forestry, to mention but a few. Hence, government plans to come up with a one-stop center for the supply of equipment for all regional spare parts. and well-trained technicians to ensure that the economy is running without disruption. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development disclosed this when he officiated at the launch of the RUPIAH Diesel Parts Center.
What we need in Zambia is one-stop center for all original spare parts and well-trained technicians to ensure that the wheels of the economy are running with minimal disruptions. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the new Dawn government is committed to working with investors that are ready to help Zambia accelerate its industrialization.
The Permanent Secretary says government will work with the private sector in order to enhance this development.
And many organizations in Zambia involved in the supply of machinery and equipment used in the agriculture, construction, mining, and energy sectors. Your company must support project implementation at constituency level by supplying affordable and quality equipment and machinery.
Meanwhile, CAMCO Group Chairperson Lita says the institution was built on a principle of supplying products that are affordable and durable.
What we bring to Zambia market are generators of quality and durability. By opening this spare parts center, customers owing or planning to acquire trucks like FAM, Beifong or David, heavy-duty machinery like Longqing, Santi, and Sunny, agricultural machinery like Low, stand to benefit. Pass for all these.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Thank you for watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take our final break. We'll be back with international and sports news after the break.
ZAMBIA, Save Nations, Develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. ZAMBIA, trade and logistics made easy.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. There's so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
We still need more players, yes, because we need to balance the team. We need to have maybe on one position 3 or 4 players.
The third Camnet Stars football trial is on. This time, Camnet Stars are looking for young, talented and skilled soccer players between the age of 18 and 20 years old. Start your lucrative football career in Europe this July. If you know you are one of Zambia's best gifted soccer players, don't waste your time. On Sunday, the 13th March 2022, there will be trials for professional soccer stars. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Time, registration 13 hours. Kick-off 14 hours. 100 kwacha non-refundable shall be paid, and your birth records must be produced upon registration. Camnet Stars, setting football standards for international market.
Welcome back. And now in international news, Cameroonian public school teachers have been on strike for 3 weeks. Despite the government's promises, not all teachers are convinced. Citing deteriorating conditions and unpaid salaries, some dating back years. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron says that he expects there will be famine in Africa because of the war in Ukraine. Middle Eastern and North African countries rely heavily on wheat from Russia and Ukraine, which accounts for 30% of global wheat exports. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
11,000 tons of wheat arrived in Lebanon this week, but this will be the last shipment from Ukraine. The world's key wheat producers, Russia and Ukraine, are at war. Lebanon, like other countries in the Middle East and North Africa, can no longer rely on them for most of their imports. They're now trying to make up for an expected shortage.
We've reached out to a number of countries, including the US, India, Canada, and some European countries, which produce the soft wheat we need for our bread.
But the problem is not just finding alternative sources. Diversifying supplies could mean transportation delays or an increase in shipping costs. Wheat prices have already hit a 14-year high.
Definitely we will resort to more expensive countries that export wheat, which would sell to us at prices that are not as cheap as in Russia and Ukraine. So if the conflict is prolonged and supply is less, this will add pressure on balance of payments or the budget.
Egypt, for example, is one of the largest importers of wheat in the world, and 80% of its supply is from Ukraine and Russia. It is considering raising the price of bread for the first time in 3 decades. It's no different in Lebanon, where authorities warn the central bank may not be able to subsidize bread if prices continue to rise. The Tunisian government, which is believed to be running out of money, has been rationing flour and reduced bread production. Increase in prices will affect millions of people in the Middle East and North Africa who live in poverty.
The Ukrainian-Russian war will affect import, export and trade because we are all importers of wheat and most of the foodstuffs are from abroad.
Across this region, economies have been hit by inflation and large public debts. Others have been destroyed by war. Syria no longer produces enough wheat to feed its population, so it relies on imports and is now rationing wheat. The World Food Programme says 12 million Syrians are food insecure, while Yemen is on the brink of famine.
Yemen, for example, where 16 million people require food assistance, and the World Food Programme is assisting 13 million of them. This country is almost entirely dependent on food imports and depends on imports of wheat from Ukraine, by about 30%. So any shock, any slight shock would actually send these countries into a very, very serious food crisis.
Food prices are at their highest level, so is poverty, in a region already in turmoil and where higher bread prices have led to popular anger in the past.
Here in Douala, schoolgoers have joined the teachers' strike in Cameroon. These pupils are chanting OTS, an acronym standing for On a trop supporté, meaning we have endured too much. 3 weeks into the strike, the school system is heavily impacted. Working with her friend, Marie-Louise Mbanje is just one of many worried high school seniors. We'll have to sit the high school diploma exam in just a few months, but we don't know how we will do it. Teachers are absent, and during the assess sessions, which started last week, it was very difficult. Substitute teachers supervised the exams because our teachers weren't there. Behind the banner OTS, teachers who refused to work, citing deteriorating conditions and unpaid salaries. The death of a teacher a few days ago has grieved an entire nation and further convinced teachers like Bonaventure Kungang. Our colleague Amidou passed away after 10 long years of good and faithful service at the Beka High School, yet with no civil servant status. We feel outraged. It hurts. It feels like the Cameroonian state kills its teachers. The OTS collective now demands 181 billion CFA franc. According to them, the amount is equivalent to the money the state owes teachers. The government proposes to pay in the following month 25 billion CFA francs. The balance, approximately 31 billion 900 million CFA francs, will be paid in 2023. If the move aims at convincing teachers to end the strike, for now, not all strikers are ready to go back to classes. Public school teachers have decided to continue the strike despite the government's promises. The strikers insist the demand should be met rapidly in order to put an end to the ordeal students and parents are experiencing just 3 months before the start of official exams.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, 2022 ABSA Cup quarterfinals were in full swing in Kitwe as Nkana Football Club took on Lumwana Radiance in a lunchtime kickoff for a place in the semi-finals at Arthur Davis Stadium. The Eden University League team Lumwana came out firing and scored early on through Joseph Chanda, but it was not enough to see them through to the semi-finals as Nkana Football Club leveled matters in the second half through Oliver Lumbia. The game went into penalties and Nkana Football Club came out victorious, beating Lumwana 5-4 on penalties. At the same venue, in a 15-hour kickoff, which saw second and third place teams in the league, Zesco United and Green Eagles lock horns. Green Eagles scored first through Ameti Shamende before Enoch Sakala leveled matters in the second half. Clement Mwape put the Ndola outfit in the lead with 20 minutes to go, but super sub Linika Mwikisa equalized for Green Eagles to take the game to penalties, and 2-0 it ended in regulation time. Tonka Twende booked their spot in the semi-finals 4-3 on penalties. Tomorrow's ABSA Cup quarterfinals will see four Lusaka teams fighting for a place in the semi-finals as Green Buffaloes will take on NAPSA Stars and Red Arrows will face Nkwazi Football Club. Meanwhile, the Camnet Stars assistant coach says his team needs to work on the front line in the ongoing FAS Zone 2 games. Blessings Chakwila filed in this report.
Camnet Stars have today had no goals in a game played against Amazing Soccer Academy in the ongoing FAS Week 11 Zone 2 games. Camnet Stars assistant coach Melvin says his team needs to work hard on the front line if they have to score.
It was 50-50. Even our opponent is a good side. So we have to work on the front line now. That's where we had a problem. We maintained defensive in the second half. We tried by all means to defend, not for the opponent to score us. So next time we have to work on the front line. That's where we had a problem in the front line.
Patson Banda, a striker from Camnet Stars, says today's game was not easy.
We just have to work on scoring, shooting opportunities, and we don't have many opportunities. So, and the opponent was good. They have got a very good team, and we have got a very good team, and the best team always carry the day. So we managed to carry the day. We thank God, but we share the point that they are home. Yeah.
And Amazing Sports Soccer Academy head coach Matthews Lungo says the game was hard, adding that both teams need to work hard on the finishing point.
Actually, we had a wonderful game with our opponent Camnet. It was a good game. We hosted them, and actually both teams were at the pace. Definitely for us, I need just to work on finishing line. We had greater chances, but finishing, it was so difficult for us. Also, our team also, they outplay us by attacking and pushing there. Also, they had the same challenge which we had. We talked just on finishing.
Meanwhile, Amazing Sports Soccer Academy striker says his team needs to work hard going forward.
I think the game in the tough now. Camnet now in the Oko Sabora na very good team. Camnet na Amazing is also a good team. So now na puchitara king amaningi in terms of finishing the poor. So I think in next game, my top man, we shall try our best to compete with them.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
And still in sports, the Premier League has disqualified Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich as a director of the club after the oligarch was sanctioned by the UK government. Abramovich had his British assets, including Chelsea, frozen on Thursday as part of the government's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The move put the Russians' prospective sale of the club on hold. The Premier League said Abramovich's disqualification would not impact on the club's ability to train and play. Removing an owner from a board would usually trigger the sale of the shares, a process that Abramovich had instigated on the 2nd of March after the threat of sanctions was raised in Parliament. He had instructed American investment firm Rain Group to seek £3 billion for the club, but finance experts believe that price could drop given the current uncertainty around Chelsea. On that note, we've come to the end of the news. The headlines once again. Zambia mourns 4th Republican President RUPIAH BANDA. Young people share their grievances as government cancels Youth Day celebrations. Government winds up the evacuation of the Zambians from Ukraine. And in international news, thousands of teachers strike in Cameroon. And in sports news, Premier League disqualifies Chelsea owner as director of club. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day coming from the book of Philippians 3 verse 19 to 20. Their end is destruction, their God is their stomach, their glory is in their shame. They are focused on earthly things, but our citizenship is in heaven, from which we also eagerly wait for a Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you for watching the news. My name is Geoffrey Ziambo, and have a good night.